This short video will demonstrate how to use Tableau's free plugin for Excel to reshape survey data so that it is easier to use inside Tableau. To use Excel, the total number of cells within the data, values that are not null that is, must be less than 1 million. This video also assumes that you have access to SPSS. The first thing you will need to do is download and install Tableau's plugin for Excel. You will need to download the zip file from this website and then follow the on-screen instructions on how to install it. The next step is to open the SPSS file and save it twice, once with values and once with value labels. To save the file as an Excel file, go to File, click Save As, change the type to Excel, and click Save. Then go through the same process, except this time select the checkbox Save Value Labels Where Defined instead of Data Values. Rename the data file to a different name and save the file. Open up either of the two data files in Excel, and the first thing that you will see in this file is on my leftmost in column A, I have a unique field called Respid, and on my first row I have the names of the variables. First, you will need to select all of the data that is not the first column or the first row. In this data file, that is the square B2. And I'm going to go ahead and select all of my data. Sometimes when you save from SPSS, null values will be indicated with a string #null!! These will need to be removed before you can continue, and you can do so by doing a find and replace and selecting replace all. Next, with all of the data selected, go to the Tableau plugin on the ribbon and click Reshape Data, and then click OK. You can see that the Tableau plugin has reshaped the data so that each respondent is listed with the questions that they answered and what those data values were. Next, you will need to run the exact same process on the second file. I'm going to select all my data. And I'm going to click Reshape. It is important to note as well, if there are null values here, you would have to replace them as well. It's very important to follow the exact same process for both files. You will now need to merge the two Excel files. Because we followed the exact same process for both files, we can select the column from one, copy, switch to the other file, and paste it beside it. We now have one file that has values in one column and value labels in the other. Where there is no value label, we simply have the value passed twice. Next, you would give the variables a name that makes sense. If you want to use filters with your charts, you need to add a separate tab containing the data values for each filter. I'm going to start by naming this tab Data, just so that I know what it is. And I'm going to add a second tab, which I'm going to rename Filter. You can use whichever Excel file you like for the Filter tab. However, it makes the most sense in most cases to use the one with the value labels so that you don't have to re-enter those into Tableau. For the purpose of this demo, I'm going to go back into that second file with the value labels. I'm going to go to my data, and I'm going to select, including respite, which is important, is needed for this case. I'm going to select all of the same data points just as they appear in the original SPSS file. I'm going to go back to the file I'm creating, and I'm going to paste that same data into the filter list. Obviously, you would choose whichever variables you wanted to use as filters, but for this case, I'm just using the same data that I'm using for the data file. So next, the Tableau plugin preserves the data before it's been reshaped. In this case, we don't need it, so we're going to delete it from this file. And then we're ready to save this reshaped data file. Inside Tableau, we're going to connect to our data source. We're going to select Excel, select the file that we've just created, and you will now see two tabs. The data tab containing the reshaped data and the list of filters. To connect to the data, we're just going to drag that over to the box. If you're not using a filter list, this is all you need to do. If you do have a filter list, as we do, you need to drag that into the box as well. If you've named the variables the same, as we have in this case, Tableau will automatically recognize that it's the same variable and will match accordingly, and it will create an inner join, which is what we want. If not, you would have to select the values or the correct variable from these lists. For most datasets, connecting to the Excel live will not be quick enough, and the performance of the dashboard and of each of the charts will be greatly enhanced, as well as some additional features will be added by using an extract. Therefore, I would recommend you always use an extract. Once after selecting the extract, you can go to the worksheet and save the data file. In Tableau, you can now see that the tabs have been added as separate folders, as a separate folder structure. You've got your data here, which is the reshaped data, and the list of filter variables here. Tableau typically treats numeric variables as measures. In this case, these aren't true measures, so I would drag them up into the dimensions window. If you've gotten this far, you will now have a data file that is processed and ready to be used inside Tableau. To close, I will demonstrate a simple way that reshaped data can be used inside Tableau. I'm going to start by dragging my variable to the rows. Next, I'm going to filter down this list of variables to only one of them that I'm interested in. In this case, I'll filter down to variable D3. Select OK. Next, I want to drag value to rows. And then, so I can see what each of those values mean, I'm going to also drag the value label to rows. Next, I can drag number of records into the chart, convert it to a bar chart, sort by most frequent to least frequent, and then hide the things that I don't want to see, like variable and value. Thanks for watching this video.